These are my eyes. I would like the camera to come closer.
أريد أن تصورها الكاميرات بشكل جيد.
I ran over there, but I saw many older people, children and women, lie on the floor. Were they dead? Yes, they were dead. Over 50, 60 people. Often the people were in so much pain that they tried to turn around. But then the torturers would start hanging on them until their shoulders were dislocated. I bring charges against Saddam. I demand my rights, because for years now I have been suffering and live in misery.
Northern Iraq, protected by police, we're on our way to Shangse, a village close to the Iranian border. It was there that on 22 March 1988, the Kurdish Dutchman Karwan Taufik was hit by a poison gas attack, ordered by Saddam Hussein. It marked him for life.
Whenever I am in Shangse, old wounds are reopened. Memories of that time are painful. Shangse is straight ahead? Yes. Thank you.
The attack on the village of Shangse was part of Saddam's campaign to attack the rebellious Kurds with poison gas. And even though it happened 17 years ago, the memories are still fresh in his mind. And yet, Karwan wants to show us where it all took place.
I never thought it would happen, that Saddam would be behind bars and that I would witness against him. That I would feel very superior to him, and that he and his accomplices would be so weak.
The reason Karwan was chosen out of thousands of victims to testify against Saddam is because the consequences of the poison gas attack are still so obvious. The gas has rendered him almost totally blind.
It is heavy for me. For instance, I cannot read books, watch TV for a long time, or drive a car. Mentally it's heavy. It has strongly influenced and changed my life. For instance, for years I have lived in Europe, but I could not learn the language. I have lived in the Netherlands for 17 years. But because of my mutilations, I was not able to learn the Dutch language. If I had been healthy and had been able to take care of myself, my life would have turned out different. Even my own children are afraid of my eyes. When I take off my glasses, they say, "Daddy, please put them back on."
Karwan watches the replay of his testimony for the first time. He's not afraid to testify against Saddam Hussein, but he protects himself against a possible attack by his followers.
I avoid many places, and I do not go outside at night. I carry a gun with me, and my armed friends always guard me when I go somewhere.
After the attack, Karwan received medical treatment in Iran. After that, he fled to the Netherlands. Here he is during a demonstration against Saddam. But the Netherlands is also the country of this man, Frans van Anraat, one of the main suppliers of chemicals to Iraq. From these chemicals, Iraq made poison gas.
If he had not sold those weapons to Saddam, perhaps it would not have happened. To me, he's even more guilty than Saddam.
Another important reason to the Iraqi prosecutors to have Karwan testify against Saddam Hussein was the fact that this Kurd had also testified against Frans van Anraat. The conviction of Van Anrat to 15 years in prison is now being used as evidence against the Iraqi dictator.
His name is Frans van Anraat.
Van Anrad. Frans Van Anrad. Van Anrad.
Who is that? He has sold hundreds of tons of chemical weapons to Saddam, to Iraq.
We continue our trip to Shangse, the village where Karwan was attacked with poison gas. The terrain is becoming more and more inhospitable. It was from these mountains that the Kurdish rebels called Peshmerga harassed the Iraqi troops of Saddam Hussein for years. Along the road, the mountains are still full of minefields.
Go straight ahead. It's the village after the next village. Thank you very much.
Karwan does not exactly know the way to Shangse anymore. In the 80s, he was also active in the resistance movement against the Iraqi troops. Back then, there were no roads in the mountains, and all movements were done on foot. Karwan brought a former comrade from the resistance as his driver. Due to his bad sight, he is unable to drive himself. The further we get into the mountains, the more old memories are recalled.
Our path can be long and difficult, and even when there is fire all around us, we will never leave this high path. We are prepared to give our lives for this goal.
This was a jail.
This was the section for women. Women were imprisoned here. So the families of the resistance fighters were imprisoned here.
Before the trip through the mountains, Karwan visits a former resistance comrade. And just like Karwan, Barzan Ahmed has also been injured by a poison gas attack. Here they both are in a prison which was used by the Saddam regime.
It was the intention here that someone was strangled. The weight of the body would take care of that. Like this. And then he suffocates. This doesn't need much explanation. Here people were tortured by being hit on the soles of their feet.
Many Kurdish rebels were tortured in these rooms. This prison has now been turned into a museum, which is directed by Barzan.
Many comrades were killed. We are still alive, but with many scars. We chose for the battle ourselves and are proud of it. I'm happy to be working here, because now I can explain other generations which cruelties were inflicted by the regime and how they tortured, to make sure that it's never forgotten. Long live the resistance. Long live Kurdistan. These 5 miners have been shot to death without any process, according to the Saddam method, in broad daylight. Civilians were forced to watch and applaud. Afterwards, the family had to pay back the costs of the bullets that killed them. 5 youngsters under the age of 18. You were our leaders. You became a support and a bastion for us. You became a support and a bastion for us. Without your sacrifices, where did the poison gas attack take place? Here. That side. Up there. Where did the airplanes come from? From that side. From the Iraqi side.
We arrived in the village of Shangse. Across from the valley is the border with Iran. In these hills, the Iraqi airplanes dropped their deadly load. Karwan was staying here with 3 other resistance fighters in tents.
I came out of my tent, looked up and saw the airplanes come down. I ducked behind a pile of stones. And then, on this very spot, a bomb fell. It was so close that the gas had not been spread yet, and it splashed on me. Slowly I started to become sick, and on my hands and face I got a burning feeling. They became bright red. My eyes started to tear very badly. About 1 hour after the attack, I lost consciousness. When I came to, I was in Iran.
An old woman lives only a stone's throw away from where the bombs fell. She lost a son and a daughter in the poison gas attack. In her yard still lie the remains of the battle.
Many people got murdered. Tens of people, I swear to God. Tens of people. When my daughter heard that Mahmoud was killed, she called out that it would have been better if she had died instead of him. 2 days later, she was also killed.
What happened after your village was attacked by chemical weapons?
There was no village anymore. Everything was destroyed. It was awful. When we came back, we were afraid. Everything was contaminated with chemicals. It was horrible. It was horrible.
After the gas attacks, the Iranian hospitals were overflowing with victims. Also, Karwan was treated here. Many people did not survive the attack.
While standing here, do you feel mostly sad or angry? I become sad, because it was the most horrible day of my life. I got injured myself, but I think of all those others that were gassed. This makes me very sad.
In the courtroom, Saddam Hussein states that Karwan can no longer be seen as an Iraqi because he now has a Dutch passport and should not be allowed to testify against him.
I am an Iraqi, but I'm proud to have a Dutch passport. I'm grateful to the Netherlands for giving me the Dutch nationality. They've helped me and given me medical treatment.
Karwan is worried about the situation in Iraq. The violence in the rest of the country is only getting worse, and he feels it's better to found an independent Kurdistan. In spite of all the problems, he is sure that this is where his future lies.
As you know, Kurdistan is free. There are few problems. People actually love their own country more. This is the land of my father and mother. That is why I returned. When I went to Europe, I had problems and bad health. My health is still bad, there just as well as here. That's why I returned, to be with my own family in my own country.
لبرو هاتمتو لناو كسكارو ولاتي خوم عظم